Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a book review for you guys, and today we are going to be reviewing Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. So this book is actually a thriller slash suspense book, and let me tell you, it's probably one of the best thriller books that I've read so far. It's definitely one of my favorites. This is the first book that I've ever read by her, so for being the first book, it definitely passed. Yeah, so if you guys want to know more about this book, then keep on watching. So I don't even know where to begin, you guys. Just saying, pick it up if you guys love thrillers. If you guys want to start reading thriller books slash suspense books, this one is it. So Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell is about a young girl named Ellie Mack who is perfect. Her mother loves her. She is loved by her mom, by her dad, by everyone. She is a teenager at the time that this book is taking place. It does have two POVs, so it's from Ellie Mack and also her mother, who is Laurel Mack, and both of these POVs are from the moment that Ellie Mack is, you know, a teenager, and then 10 years later, who is a POV of her mother Laurel, who is telling her story after the disappearance of her daughter Ellie, which is 10 years. So there's a 10-year gap here. You know, Ellie is a good girl. She, you know, loves school. Like, she has a boyfriend. She had a future for herself. Her boyfriend was very good, I believe, in math, and she wanted to be better or something like that. Let me just say that I read this book last year and I just never made a review about it, so I don't quite remember. Ellie loved everything about school. She loved studying, she loved books, she loves all those kinds of things. She has a boyfriend who is very, very good in math, and so she also wanted to be good. So she asked her mother if she could have a tutor for that reason, just because she wanted to be great and she wanted to impress him. And so the mom agreed. The parents weren't not well off, so they were kind of iffy about letting her, because obviously there wasn't extra money to put into that, but you know, they loved her, so they said yes. And so there's this lady who at the moment, I think at that time she's probably like maybe her mid-20s, late 20s, because she is currently in college, I believe, or maybe it's after college. They don't really specifically say. Also, I don't remember the tutor's name, so don't ask me. But she would basically get tutored in math by this one young lady, and everything's going fine, everything's dandy, she's doing well in math, she's doing perfectly fine. And then the tutor starts acting a little weird. She was kind of obsessed with Ellie's like life, and so Ellie was being a little suspicious, you know. She was kind of like getting the creeps out of it. She felt awkward, but she didn't think anything of it. She was just like, okay, whatever, like she's probably just telling me these things, you know, just because. The tutor actually started talking to her about, your life isn't going to be perfect forever. People are not always going to like you. Just because you think you're the perfect thing right now, like just wait until you go into college, or after college, like no one's going to love you. All this crap that was going on in the tutor's life that I think she was just projecting out to Ellie. So it was creeping Ellie out, and it was kind of creeping her out. I was even creeped out. So Ellie decided to call it quits on the tutoring and told her mom that she doesn't need any more tutoring, that she was good now, that she had an A in class, and so she didn't need any of this. So her mom was like, okay, like she didn't question it, and Ellie never actually told her what the tutor lady was telling her, so the mom didn't really think anything of it either. So the mom actually called the tutor and told her, thank you for your services, but we no longer need you, girl. Thank you though. So the tutor lady was a little shocked by it, because her life at that time was probably getting ruined, and you know, everything was going downhill for her. She didn't feel loved. She didn't feel like no one appreciated her. She just felt like no one wanted to be even friends with her, or like they just didn't want to be around her. So she felt really, really like sad and mad at the same time. So she was like, okay, don't worry about it, like fine, just forget it, right? So then I want to say it was a week later, maybe a month later. Yeah, because I think they were about to graduate high school. I believe Ellie was about to graduate high school, because Ellie was gonna go to, I don't know if she was going into a restaurant or if she was going into the store, I don't remember. But she runs into that tutor lady, and you know, the tutor lady's like, oh, how are you doing, like how's everything going with your math and all that. And you know, Ellie was like, oh, it's good, you know, like you know, everything's fine. And the tutor was like, well, I know that you're gonna take your tests for you to like graduate and stuff. Like if you need any help, let me know. Like I have packages for you, like not just in math but like in general. And Ellie was like, oh well, she, you know, she's just being friendly. Like I'll take the packets because obviously like she needed help. So Ellie was like, sure, I'll take them. Not worrying about how creeped out she was prior, but she was like, okay. The tutor lady was like, I have them in my house, come with me, you know, I'll just give them to you, it'll be fine. So there was people walking around, and Ellie did look around and she was like, okay, like I'll go. But the thing is, they describe Ellie as someone that no one would really notice because she's so plain and simple. She never stood out. No one really actually paid attention to what was going on around her or to her. So Ellie said yes. She went to go get, you know, the packets, and that day she was supposed to go to school. She never came back. Dun dun dun. Ellie never came back home. So the mom started worrying. So she called the boyfriend. Boyfriend's like, no, she didn't even go to school. She called her other friends. They were like, no, I haven't seen her. So the mom started like getting a little suspicious and was like, this is weird. So then she called the police. Obviously she ends up telling her other two kids and her husband about it. The police come, they do a report, and they look for her everywhere, literally everywhere. Like they passed by where it happened, they passed by all the stores that she passed by, and no one could find anything. No one was able to find any like clue. No one was able to find like any missing things. Like nothing was found from her because like no one just like could find anything. And so kept looking, they kept looking. I think a month or two later from the disappearance of Ellie, someone breaks into their house, gets a box from Ellie's room and some stuff from her, a laptop, and like other things that were in that household. They call the police, they do another report, and the police go in and investigate. They ask them about the stuff that went missing, and they tell them that everything is theirs. And so the police rule it out as that she ran away. No one thought that she was murdered. No one thought that she was being kidnapped. They really thought that she ran away because everything that was taken from the house was everything that Ellie's and everything that she needed to survive. So they just never looked anything further after that. That kind of sucks. Years later, the parents actually got divorced because of the whole situation. The mom couldn't cope because she didn't believe that her daughter ran away. The parents divorced. She really never took care of the kids after that. She didn't care for them. She had another daughter and another son. They made their lives, you know, have relationships and stuff, and the mom doesn't give two craps about them. Years later, like, she lives in an apartment by herself. She does take care of one of her daughters' apartment, so she goes and cleans it, but that's about it. Like, she doesn't really have a big relationship with them. Her husband does, you know, like, try to talk to her every once in a while to see how she's doing, but, you know, like, he has another girlfriend or wife, so there's that. So Laurel ends up alone, and the son also is in a relationship, and he lives in another like city or town, I believe, because I think this takes place in the UK, because nothing is, the names are, or at least a fictional place, I'm not sure, because nothing is here, if that makes sense. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, the mother finds something. But see, the way she finds it is the least way you expect it. So the mom, you know, is finally ready to move on. She's like, you know what, Ellie has been gone for 10 years. If she disappeared, she disappeared. I know what happened, and I know my daughter, she didn't run away, but police aren't gonna do anything, fine. She was about to move on when one day she's like, I'm gonna go to a cafe. She goes into a cafe, you know, the usual, I think it's the usual cafe that she goes into, but she goes in and she sits down, starts drinking her tea and her little bread or whatever she was eating, and there's a man across from her table who happens to be, you know, there. She's never seen him before, and so they have a little chat, right? So she ends up having a relationship with this man. Everything's going good. She's finally happy. Her ex-husband is happy for her, her kids are happy for her, but this man has a daughter. Yes, I said it. She has a daughter. His name is Floyd, by the way. This man, Floyd, has a daughter named Poppy. Cutest name ever. Cute as a button. And this little girl, you know, happens to be 9 years old. Yeah, this daughter happens to be 9 years old. It gets better, you guys. This girl, little girl named Poppy, this 9-year-old Poppy, miraculously looks exactly like Ellie, the spitting image of Ellie. So Laurel, when she sees her, you should just imagine how she reacts. Obviously she doesn't tell Floyd because that's kind of weird to say, you know, like the moment that she was trying to move on from her daughter, this man comes into her life with a little girl who looks exactly like her daughter and who happens to be born after her daughter was like disappeared. So it's kind of like suspicious. So now Laurel has a lot of questions because she's kind of like, this is weird. Obviously Ellie was still a teenager when this happened, when she disappeared, so she knows that her daughter was not able to conceive, obviously. So she's kind of like, why does this kid look like my daughter? So now all these questions start coming up. Did she actually disappear? Did she actually run away? Like, what if she's still alive? Maybe she did run away, you know, like she starts questioning herself over and over again about the whole thing. And you know, like the whole case is open again for her because now she's very like curious to know why this little girl looks exactly like her daughter. So she continues a relationship with Floyd, trying to investigate if he knows something about it or if he, you know, happens to be the one who actually kidnapped Ellie or something, you know. When she finds out the truth, it's like, what? You know, like you kind of guess who it is. It's so obvious, but you don't know the details. Just letting y'all know, this is gonna be a spoiler one. So right here, if you guys don't want to know the rest, stop watching, because everything after this, it's all gonna be spoiler alerts. Just letting you know. Ready? Okay. She finds out that this little girl's mother is actually the tutor who tutored Ellie 10 years ago. Yeah, so that's what Floyd tells her. Floyd tells her that she was with this one lady who was very, very possessive and obsessed with him. And you know, he first thought that she was like a fling, like, you know, like sex with benefits type of thing, but ended up being a real relationship. And you know, obviously they had, you know, sex. So she ends up getting pregnant, or at least supposedly gets pregnant, but turns out that she had Ellie in her basement the whole time. And so she got the sperm, put it inside Ellie, and Ellie had that baby Poppy because the tutor lady couldn't actually have babies. So she wanted a kid so badly so that she could keep Floyd with her, because Floyd was about to break up with her. He was no longer interested in her. He was kind of creeped out by her as well. She didn't want that to happen, so that was her plan the whole time. Put the sperm inside Ellie. Ellie was in her basement for 9 months, literally 9 months. Everyone would always pass by her. She literally lived around the corner from Ellie, like maybe a few blocks, and no one ever was able to find her. The tutor lady even had neighbors, but no one had any suspicions. No one was able to hear when Ellie was yelling or anything. So Ellie was stuck in the basement for maybe 9-10 months. She ends up dying in the basement because she wasn't getting fed. But basically, yeah, the tutor ends up killing her, and she ends up keeping her down there, like even when she died. So then back to Floyd. He had gotten suspicious and thinking and wondering if that baby was actually his, because the timeline wasn't accurate. He was very like weirded out because there was a moment when they had broken up, and I guess that moment was when she got pregnant. So he was a little like iffy about it. But obviously he got back with her because they were having a child. But then the tutor lady was like, no, I don't really want you anymore, so you can have the child though. It was on and off basically, and I believe he finds out the truth of what actually happened. And so he actually knows what happens to Ellie. He knows that Poppy is not his child. Since he was raising her since she was born, he decided to keep her, not tell the police of what happened. And technically the tutor lady left him and the child. And that's also what he tells Laurel when she finds out the truth, because she ends up finding out because she finds, I don't know if she finds papers So he finally confesses, but the truth is the tutor lady actually didn't run away and leave him with the child. He actually killed her as well and is buried in their backyard. She's been buried there for a very, very long time. It's creepy because I believe Poppy's room, the window in her room is facing the backyard. Laurel takes her in because Lloyd runs away, but I believe he also kills himself. So then, for no one to find out, for the police not to find out, Poppy ends up staying with Laurel. And everyone loves Poppy. Laurel actually tells them the truth of who Poppy is and where she came from. That's how it ends. Basically, Poppy ends up living with her grandmother. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down below. And I highly recommend you guys read this book. Just saying, it is good. Read it. I think you guys will enjoy it so much. There's a lot of detail into this book and a lot of very mysterious moments and like the thrill of finding all these clues. It's like so fun. So go read this book. If you guys enjoyed this video, like I said, let me know down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.